Hello learners! How are you? I am Teacher Jen, your guide in accomplishing your tasks in English for academic and professional purposes for Quarter 1, Week 4. Prepare your pen, learning activity sheet, and join me in this journey. Our main aim for this lesson is to state that this is a statement of an academic text. Specifically, we should be able to identify the different features of a thesis statement and recognize an effective thesis statement based on given information.
To start with, here is a question for you. What is a thesis statement? A thesis statement is a complete sentence that contains one main idea, and this idea controls the entire essay. It is the overall idea or argument of your work. Also, it makes all parts of your work stick together. Take note also that a thesis statement contains subpoints which will support or strengthen the main idea. There are features of a thesis statement. A thesis statement states the main idea of the essay in a complete sentence, not in a question. That is, it is in a declarative form. We have the following examples. The first one is a question. Therefore, it is not a good thesis. Compared it with the improved version, which is in the declarative form that states the idea that the writer wants to impart the readers. For this example, the first one is a phrase. It does not give a complete thought. The main idea of the second one is clearer to the reader what the writer wants to discuss in his or her essay. Another feature of thesis statement is, it is typically the last sentence in your introduction. Essays have three main parts, namely, the introduction, body, and conclusion. Most of the time, the thesis statement is the last sentence of the introduction. Let us have an example. For most of my life I have lived with bad health, smelly clothes, and a chronic cough. My children and husband begged me to stop the habit that caused these conditions, but I couldn't. The habit of smoking had wrapped its addicting arms around me and was slowly strangling me until one day I realized I had to stop. This realization came after 3 terrifying events occurred in my family. The last sentence, which is, the realization came after 3 terrifying events occurred in my family, is the thesis statement. We'll have now the third feature of a thesis statement. A good thesis statement does not state the obvious or announce directly the topic. Avoid using starters like, the essay will discuss, or, I'm going to write about, as shown in the following examples. It is better to say, smoking has disastrous effects to a person's health, relationship with others, and to the environment, rather than, this essay is about the effects of smoking to a person. The fourth feature of a thesis statement is, it often expresses a writer's opinion or attitude on a particular topic. With this feature, thesis statement becomes more specific and it requires a writer to explain or prove his or her opinion in the essay. This example is not a good thesis statement because it is only expressing a fact. It doesn't give the writer's opinion or attitude on playing musical instruments. This thesis statement doesn't give the writer very much to explain or prove in his or her essay. This statement is a better version of the first one, as a good thesis statement because it expresses how the writer feels about the experience of learning to play musical instruments. This thesis statement requires the writer to explain how and why playing a musical instrument made him or her a better person. The fifth and last feature of a thesis statement that I will be discussing is that a good thesis statement often lists subpoints or subtopics. From the given examples, the second example is better than the first one. On this second example, the underlined ideas are the subpoints which will be elaborated further in the body of the essay. Let us have the practice activity on page 3 of your learning activity sheet. Let us identify if the following statements are good or poor thesis. We will also state the reason of our choice. Number 1, school breakfasts should be funded because they have benefits for all children. Is this statement a good or poor thesis? It is a poor thesis, because there are no subpoints. The benefits of having school breakfast funded are not listed. Let us have number 2, how can women make better decisions for their family? Is this a good thesis statement? This statement is a poor one, because it is in a question form. It should be in a declarative sentence as stated in feature number 1. What about statement number 3, computer have changed our society? Is this a good or poor thesis statement? This statement is a fact and too broad to discuss. However, it can be improved to be a good thesis statement. Let us proceed to number 4. It says here, the topic of this paper is alcoholism. Is this a good thesis statement? No, this statement is not a good thesis because it announces the topic directly. Let us have the last one. Number 5, how to grow prize-winning roses. What do you think? Is this a good or poor thesis statement? This statement is a poor thesis, but could be a better title of the essay.
From the discussion, I hope that you will be able to do the tasks in your activity sheet. To wrap up everything that we have talked about in this lesson, let us always remember that
a thesis statement is a complete sentence that contains one main idea. It controls the content of the entire essay. It makes all parts stick together. Finally, it tells the readers what the writer wants to emphasize in the essay. For features of a good thesis statement, these include: first, states the main idea of the essay in a complete sentence. Second, it is the last sentence in the introduction. Third, does not state the obvious or announce the topic directly. Fourth, expresses a writer's opinion or attitude on a particular topic. Lastly, lists subpoints or subtopics.
that's it for now. See you again next week for another activity. Only here at DepEd MP TV.